Hi, my name is Angus Ho with Daddy Dad, a part of the Ash Management Group. I want to show how you can budget as a full-time engineer, make real estate investments, and live an exceptional family life as a dad. So come along with me in this journey of wealth. Welcome back, YouTube. It is time to get to the last part of my life, which is the real estate investor part. I started quite young at the age of 25 when I bought my first rental property. It was a very scary experience because I didn't know if I was going to succeed or if I'm going to run into a lot of problems. Just letting you know, looking back now, I should have been bolder and started earlier. So how did I make my first purchase? It started with 3 simple letters, ASH. It was coined by Ash Management as A, accumulate, S, save, and H, house. Those 3 letters will help you buy your first property. In this video, I want to show you how I went from accumulating that down payment all the way to my first month of renting. Maybe in a future video, I will talk about some of the tips, lessons learned, and strategies I'm using today to be a better landlord. But before you get into that rental property, remember, ASH. I know you guys are dying to figure out what ASH really means. But before we get into it, I want to thank every subscriber so far for helping me reach 100 subscribers. In 1 week, we went from 50 to 100. Please continue to show your support and help me reach the next goal of 500 subscribers. I also want to give a special thank you to those who committed to this channel ever since day 1. You know, when I started this channel, I thought getting to 10 was going to be super hard. So when I reached 50, I thought getting to 100 was really hard. Now that I reach 100, getting to 500 will probably be just as hard. But together, let's do it. So you're still here, are you? Well, if you haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. For more tips about engineering, real estate investing, and budgeting, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Comment below what is stopping you from purchasing your first property. If you already purchased property, tell me your journey so far about renting. Well, let's get right into it. What does ASH mean? Well, the first letter A stands for accumulate. How do you do that? Well, a job would be nice. If a job isn't sufficient, maybe you need to find a second side hustle. If that isn't sufficient, maybe you need to spend less. And if that's still not sufficient, maybe you should comment below why you think you're not accumulating any money. I accumulated money ever since I was a little kid. I was the kind of person that watched that bank account like a hawk. Make sure you also check out some of my other videos about budgeting tools and how to pay down your debt faster. Even if you're not in debt, these strategies will help you accumulate wealth faster. One of the fastest ways I found to accumulate wealth is to live with the parents. Yes, I understand that you might lose some freedom, but it's totally worth it at the end. While you're accumulating wealth, the next step is S, save your money. Saving your money doesn't mean just putting in the savings account and leave it there. It will grow really slow. So what you want to do is invest it. Invest it into things like GICs, guaranteed investment certificates. If you're a shopper like me, maybe you should shop for interest rates instead of consumables like food and clothes and fun. I've seen banks that go as high as 2.5% for 6 months. These are promotional interest rates, but you know, putting it in there is a lot faster than leaving it in the savings account. At least you're held for 6 months on the 2.5%. By saving your money, you can accumulate wealth faster to purchase your first home than if you were to spend it on things that will not help you reach that goal of your first home. If you're super daring like me, maybe you should try the stock market. I highly encourage maybe trying the S&P 500 index as the safest option. Other safe options include ETFs, or the exchange traded funds, or mutual funds. These funds, they kind of take a little bit of a commission off of you, but also the gains might be a little bit faster than S&P 500 index funds. The S&P 500 fund is actually not that bad. It does say that in the last 10 years, it has increased by 10%. This fund includes some of the big name companies, the blue chip stocks that can't fail. If you're daring like me, you can maybe try picking individual stocks. If you are to go that route, it is very risky that you may not be able to pull out when you're ready to purchase a house. So what I suggest is pick very stable, non-volatile stock. Companies like ExxonMobil and Disney has been very stable and not very volatile. Disney gives you a 1.3% dividend yield, whereas ExxonMobil will give you around 4 to 6% dividend yield. Therefore, I do kind of suggest that you pick a stock that has a high dividend yield so that if you need to pull out, if you pull out at net zero, at least the dividend will give you some money. The S part of ASH is so important because that really helps you accumulate wealth faster to buy that first home. If you can save $2,000 per month, in 10 months you would have $20,000, and that will be enough for a 5% down payment on a $400,000 house. But if you can also add a 5% interest on that amount, over 10 months you could have additional $50 to help pay down that mortgage. Once you have enough down payment, it is time to move on to the last letter, H, the house. When you're purchasing a house, the best thing you can do is to find a realtor that suits you. Find a realtor that is also doing real estate investing or is a landlord themselves already. That way they can help you find what you are looking for because they already have an eye for it. Also, find someone that will respond to your text. If they are too busy with someone else, that is not good news for you. When we met our realtor, he said a lot of terms that made sense about real estate investing, and that is one of the reasons why we went with him. Ever since we met, I've been asking him to help us purchase our next couple properties. Because he was a landlord himself, he helped us get started as a landlord. And he also helped us set up searches that met the criteria of a good investment property. Finding the right property is also super important as that affects your cash flow. This property should also be able to rent upstairs and downstairs for optimal cash flow. You want a property that makes sense, that is not too awkward for your tenants, and that you are willing to live in. If this is your first house and you do need a place to live, there is something called house hacking. House hacking is the idea that you live in the property while you rent the other units out. That way, the money that you make off of them gives you free living in that house. That is exactly what we did. We lived in the basement and then we rented out the upstairs. Then, on our next purchase, we flipped it around. We decided to live upstairs and rent out the downstairs. Other considerations about the house is location. Remember, most of your tenants may not have a car, so being central to the city and also having good bus routes is important. Just remember, if you purchase in a more rundown area, just expect more rundown tenants. Now, each style is a little different from area to area, but do not get your hopes up too high that you expect an office worker in an area that is riddled with crime. When you're doing the property analysis, make sure the cash flow is positive. So don't buy a house that you need to pay out of pocket every month. If you absolutely must buy that house, make sure you get the price down or just don't buy it at all. Well, in our journey, we eventually found that house. It took about 4 to 5 months to find it, but we found it. There is still a lot of work to do. First, you probably need to get a home inspection, which costs around $500. Then, you might need to get an appraisal, which will cost you around another $200. Then, you will need to get a lawyer, which can cost $800 to broker the deal. Once you have all that stuff done, the actual work begins. You are now a landlord. Purchasing the house is a one-time thing. Being a landlord is a forever thing. You will have to be a property manager through your entire life. You will have to maintain the house, deal with tenant issues, and you will be a property manager. So what did we have to do when we started landlording? First, you have to take pictures of the house and post it on things like Kijiji, Craigslist, maybe even Facebook Marketplace. There are infinite sites that you can post your listing for free. Make sure you post it on everything, even if it's a daunting task. You want as many choices as you can when it comes to picking a tenant. Make sure when you have responses that you ask questions whether or not they have pets if you have a no pets house. Once you have confirmed showings, make sure you show up to the house early to turn on the lights and to tidy up anything that is unsightful. After the showing, make sure you ask them if they want an application form. Also, tell them what their next steps are. Don't expect them to ask you. Once you get that application form back, make sure you also do reference check. Those are very tell-worthy signs whether or not they make a good tenant. Once everything checks out from that, now it is time to make an offer. But wait, that might not be the end of it. We had to negotiate the rent. Once the lease is signed and the keys are handed over, then are you officially done. That's it. That's pretty much my month in a nutshell. So if there is anything to help you get into real estate faster, remember, it is ASH. Accumulate, save, house. It is a very relied on and trustworthy method, so make sure you follow those steps. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you guys next time. If you like to hear more budgeting, engineering, or real estate tips, please leave a comment for what you want to hear. Smash that like button, subscribe button, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I post new videos every week on Sundays. From the Ash Management Group, this is Daddy Dad, saving you money.